In my life, I have been spat on, called a stupid, ignorant kike to my face, and thrown out of stores. I have faced unwarranted wrath of exclusion simply for being who I am, a Jew. And yet, these personal affronts did not fully prepare me for the unexpected and profound irony of encountering anti-Semitism right here in Geneva, the birthplace of the United Nations, right here in the halls of this sacred institution, which was born out of the Holocaust, the very genocide that robbed me of an extended family and threatened my own existence. It is here in this city that we carry the onus of representing the highest aspirations of humanity. But it's not just about the place, it's also about the time. Anti-Semitism, a menacing shadow that has persistently loomed over history, is once again on the rise, challenging our most sacred values and human rights principles. Geneva is host to the Human Rights Council, and a multitude of international organizations and civil society groups is exactly the right place to fortify our commitment to quell this resurgent tide of hate.
I have to say, for me, this is a very personal topic. I was born 20 years after the end of the Second World War, and during my formative years, I remember when I started grappling and when your political consciousness awakes, I was shocked by the abominable crimes that were committed in my own country, Austria. The Nazi Holocaust, its systematic murder of 6 million Jews, 1.5 million of them children, together with the mass murder of Roma, Slavs, people with disabilities, gay men, and members of resistance movements, cast an indelible shadow over human history, and especially European history. Anti-Semitism has been a scourge for generations. Its deep scars cannot be healed, but we can and must learn from them. The modern human rights movement, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the UN Charter, have been nourished by this imperative to learn how to overcome the hatred and ignorance that drive discrimination and violence. New technologies and online media mean that racist caricatures and conspiracy theories can circulate now at a much greater speed and without regard to distance, making them a grave threat to our social fabric. Every genocide begins with hate speech and with attitudes that dehumanize others. We learned that to counter effectively this hatred, we need to act early and we need to target its deep roots. They must do far more to stop the circulation of hate speech and disinformation. And those that do not take such action need to be held to account. There's no excuse for purveying the poison of hatred. I strongly object to the current trolling campaign on one online platform against the Anti-Defamation League after it called for action to limit its volume of hate speech. Companies should increase transparency about their hate speech policies, and they must much more effectively put these policies into practice.
Anti-Semitism, I'm going to say something very basic. Anti-Semitism is a prejudice like every other prejudice, including the many you address here in Geneva. Whether it's racism, homophobia, Islamophobia, it is a prejudice. If you think about the etymology of the word prejudice, prejudge. Don't confuse me with the facts. I've made up my mind. In the United States, a racist would see, oh, I see a black person, I know what they're about, I know what their morals are. I see a woman in hijab, I know what she's about. I see a Jew, I know what they are about. As a colleague of mine likes to say, the stereotype hits you in the nose while the person is still 2 blocks away. No genocide, to just reiterate what you said, because I think it was so spot on. No genocide began with people saying, let us take guns, knives, machetes, whatever it might be, and kill people. It begins with words. It begins with words, stronger words, ideas, and then until it becomes okay to do physical damage. We have seen that too often, including in our own times. And for many years, my predecessors could come to a place like this or go to your various countries and say, you have a problem. You have a problem here in physical attacks and verbal attacks, whatever it might be, and we in the United States are very concerned about that. I can't do that. I have to come to you and say, we have a problem. Because in my country, we have seen a significant rise of anti-Semitic actions and anti-Semitic speech and threats, including online, on many different platforms, some more significantly than others. That brings me to another exceptionally important point. The interconnectedness of these hatreds. One cannot fight hatred in silos. One cannot say, I am only against racism, but I don't care about the others. I am only against anti-Semitism, but I don't care about the others. Know that for the hater, they are interconnected. Anti-Semitism is a threat to democracy. Anti-Semitism is a threat to government stability. The anti-Semite adheres to the conspiracy theory that Jews control the media, Jews control the banks, Jews control the government, Jews control everything. They are the puppets, and the rest of us are, they are the puppeteers, and the rest of us are the puppets. Someone who adheres to this belief has lost faith in democracy.
As the Human Rights Council is currently in session, I would like to recall the words of former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan, who said, and I quote, "A human rights agenda that fails to address anti-Semitism denies its own history." Let today's gathering be a rallying point to redouble our joint efforts to eradicate anti-Semitism and hatred around the world. I thank you.
By convening here on the margins of HRC 54, we affirm our resolution to position anti-Semitism at the forefront of our human rights agenda, recognizing that our fight against this unique form of hatred is linked with the broader struggles against discrimination and prejudice. As we move forward together, we ensure that our united front sends a clear message.
In reality, we are one. All human beings, the family of humanity. The greatest threats we face are faced by us all. Climate change, suffocating pollution, the plunder and impoverishment of our planet's diversity and resources, pandemics, poverty, violence, injustice of all kinds. Every single person who is reviled, rejected, mistreated, or prevented by a web of individual and systemic discrimination from achieving their goals represents a loss to all of us, and a terrible repudiation of this fundamental truth, which was set out so clearly and so simply 75 years ago. We are all equal in dignity and in rights.